Welcome to the Wise Guides. I'm Evie. I'm your host, and I'm also a first-gen professional with over a decade of experience in corporate HR. I'm here to provide you with practical guides on how to increase your wealth and your happiness at work. Whether you're feeling like an imposter in that new job, juggling a million responsibilities, or just trying to get your foot in the door, this is your space to find real, no BS advice, hear from people who have already been there, and maybe even laugh a little along the way. So grab your coffee or your glass of wine, settle in, and let's dive into today's topic. You are exactly where you need to be. Okay, so let's get into today's topic because this one really requires a mindset shift. I'm warning you in advance, and I promise that if you get this, it will change how you see the rest of your life when it comes to your job, your value, and the way you position yourself in any professional room. And here it is. You are not just an employee. You are a service, a solution, an answer to a problem. And the moment that you start seeing yourself that way, your entire career trajectory will begin to shift. Now, hold on. I'm not saying that you should start handing out invoices at your next one-on-one or asking your manager to tip you for the work that you're doing, or that you're a product that's here to be sold. That's not what I'm saying. But too often, especially first-gen professionals, we were taught to lead with humility, to be grateful, just to have a seat at the table and to not ask for much. But what happens is we internalize that too deeply. So we shrink our value. We wait to be noticed. We assume that our work will speak for itself. And then we end up underpaid, overlooked, and burnt out. So in today's episode, we're going to break all of that down. We're going to cover these things. Number one, the difference between seeing yourself as an employee versus a service or solution. Number two, why this mindset shift is absolutely crucial for standing out and advancing your career. Number three, how to audit and articulate your value. Number four, the specific steps to position yourself as the go-to person in your industry. And last but not least, some real-world HR-backed insight on how decision makers actually choose who gets hired, promoted, or recommended. We're also going to talk about imposter syndrome because I know some of you are already thinking, maybe I'm not that special, or I don't have anything unique to offer, so I might skip this episode. First of all, I promise you that you actually do. So we're going to unpack that together, and we're going to go through it step by step. So let's start here. Why does this shift matter? Well, because how you see yourself is exactly how you'll position yourself. And how you position yourself is how others will understand your value and reward you for it through compensation. If you think of yourself as just another employee, you're going to continue to play small. You're going to speak cautiously in meetings. You're going to feel like you're asking for a favor when you apply for a new role or you ask for a promotion or a raise. But if you start thinking of yourself as a service, a solution to a real problem that an organization has, you step into those same moments with clarity and confidence that you are exchanging true value. Now, I know this concept can seem really weird at first. Most of us weren't taught to think this way. If you were raised in a household where job security was the goal, where the dream was to get hired and keep your head down and never rock the boat, then this mindset shift is going to feel like you're breaking the rules. So let's break them. The truth is, the people getting the jobs that you want, the promotions that you deserve, and the salary that you've earned, they're not better than you. They've just figured out how to position themselves more strategically and more consistently. So let's break it down. When I say position yourself as a service, I mean this. When you speak about what you do, when you're interviewing for a role, or when you're building your reputation at work, you should be leading with the outcomes that you create, the problems that you solve, the value that you deliver. Because here's what most people are actually missing in the job search or career growth journey. They focus too much on the tasks, not the transformation. You weren't just answering emails, managing a team, or making reports. You were improving client service. You were increasing efficiency. You were reducing turnover. You're helping leaders make smarter decisions. You, you are the bridge between the problems and solutions. So let me back this up with some data. According to LinkedIn's 2023 Global Talent Trends Report, 72% of managers say that they prioritize impact over responsibilities when they're reviewing resumes and candidate profiles. So, in other words, they're not just looking for what you did, they're looking for how what you did actually made a difference and impacted the organization. And here's another one for you. In 2022, a study by Harvard Business Review found that companies that clearly aligned individual roles with strategic goals saw a 29% in employee engagement and 31% increase in internal mobility. This means that employees who could clearly see and communicate how their work contributed to the bigger picture were more likely to get promoted and stay longer. I call those the MVPs. So if you're wondering why your good work isn't getting rewarded, it might not be a lack of effort. It might be a lack of clarity in how you are framing your value. And to do that, we need to shift from job descriptions to value propositions. So a job description might say, I manage social media accounts. Okay. A value proposition instead might say, I help brands increase engagement, build credibility, and drive traffic through data-informed social strategy. Can you see the difference here? One of those is a list. The other one is a story. And stories stick with people. Now, before you start spiraling, thinking that you don't have a story, let me just say this clearly. I know you do. You've overcome things, you've solved problems, you've helped people, you've moved things forward. You've just been taught not to look at things through that angle, and you definitely haven't been taught to talk about it. So today we want to change that. Now that we understand the why, let's talk about the how, because we're not just here for inspiration, right? We're here for action, practical action. Let's walk through a framework that I've used in order to help people position themselves as a service, strategically, clearly, and authentically. Let's call this the VIS Model, VIS. Starting with value, then impact, then story. Step 1, define your value. Ask yourself, what problems do I consistently solve in my work? What do people come to me for? What am I naturally good at that also drives results? Value isn't always tied to hard skills. Sometimes it's about your judgment. Maybe you stay calm under pressure. Your ability to translate complicated ideas into plain language is definitely a superpower. So don't discount those things as invisible skills. Write a list of 3 to 5 ways that you add value at work. Start with the sentence, I help blank, do blank, so that blank. For example, I help cross-functional teams stay aligned so that we deliver projects on time. I help leaders make better decisions by turning raw data into clear insights. I help new hires feel confident quickly so that they become productive faster, which ultimately helps the organization move forward. Do you see the pattern here? Start with who you help, then what you do to help them do that, and then why it actually matters. If you've listened to my superpower episode, it will definitely help you with doing some of this work. Step 2 is you want to highlight your impact. Now that you know what value you bring, it's time to back it up with evidence. Your future employer or manager doesn't want to just know what you did. They want to know what changed because of you. Impact is about outcomes, measurable or meaningful. So ask yourself, what changed because I was involved in this project? What did we do faster, better, smarter, or cheaper because of me? How did my presence shift a team dynamic or a client's outcome? I know this is really hard. This feels like you are putting a spotlight on yourself and it might feel uncomfortable. But this is exactly what you need to do if you want to start presenting yourself in the right light. So pull up your calendar, your past performance reviews, or emails from people in your organization and start collecting receipts. Create a wins log or an achievements log and use that to help you capture a running list of the projects that you've contributed to, the results that you've helped drive, the feedback that you've received. Even if you don't use the exact numbers in a conversation or a resume, writing them down helps you internalize and understand your worth so that when it's time to speak about it, you're not just scrambling for proof. You know it and you believe it. Step 3, tell your story. This is the part that many first gens tend to skip. We were taught to work, not to talk about the work. But storytelling is what makes your value and your impact actually memorable. It's what connects the dots for your future employers or the next sponsor in your career. A story is not a novel. It's 2 to 3 sentences about who you helped, what you did, and what happened next. Here's an action prompt. First, talk about the situation, the challenge, or the context of what was in front of you. What was the problem? Then talk about the initiative. What did you specifically do? And then talk about the payoff. What was the result of that? So, for example, my team was struggling with onboarding new hires remotely. I redesigned our onboarding flow using Loom videos and a Slack buddy system. As a result, we saw a 40% improvement in day 1 readiness scores. That's short, it's clear, and it's action-packed. It makes somebody want to hear more about it. And here's a bonus step. Speak in solutions. Change your vocabulary. How do you talk about what you do? If someone asks you, what do you do? And your response is, my job title is ... You're missing a chance to make yourself unforgettable. So try this instead. Say things like, I help sales teams reduce frictions by building tools and templates that they actually want to use. Instead of just saying, I'm a sales, say, I translate research into stories that help people and leaders make better decisions. Things like, I help managers develop inclusive teams where people actually want to stay. Your title is a label. Your value is your actual offer. So when people ask what you do, you should talk about your value, not the label that you hold. Start speaking like someone who provides a service, not just somebody who does what they're told. So let's land this episode by talking about a few mental rewiring things that need to be done, because it's not just a new resume or a better elevator pitch. You need to shift your entire identity. And here are 3 core mindset shifts that I think every first gen and every professional really needs to make when learning how to position themselves in today's marketplace. The first mindset shift is you are not asking for a job. You are providing a service. This is everything. Just remember this if you walk away from this episode and don't remember anything else. You're not asking for a job. You're providing a service. When you go into an interview, you are not begging to be chosen. You are showing that you solve a problem and seeing if there is alignment. That is powerful. You wouldn't beg somebody to buy a product if you knew it could help them. You demonstrate them the value and let them make the smart choice. It's the same kind of energy here. The second mindset shift is you don't have to be the best. You just have to be extremely clear. So many first-gen professionals hold themselves back because they don't feel like experts, so they rather not say anything at all. But here's the truth. Expertise isn't just a title, it's a track record. And most of you already have plenty of that. You just haven't been taught to think about it that way, or look at it that way, or frame it as expertise. Stop waiting to be perfect. Start speaking clearly about what you already do well. And that comes from documenting things first in an achievements log. And the third mindset shift is positioning is not performance, it's clarity. You are not putting on a show. You are not selling out. You are making it easier for people to see how they can work with you, why they should trust you, and why they should promote you. Visibility isn't vanity, it is strategy. And clarity will always create more currency. So here's your challenge for this week. I want you to answer these 3 questions for yourself. Number 1, what is the problem you solve in the work that you do? Number 2, what is the evidence that you do it very well? And number 3, how can you communicate that in a way that's memorable and human? Write it, practice saying it, and then start sharing it. Whether in your one-on-ones with your boss, in interviews, in performance reviews, in your bio, in your LinkedIn summary, but most importantly, in your own mind. Because when you start seeing yourself as a solution, others will too. Again, you are not an employee. You are a service. You are a solution. And that service and solution is valuable to many, many, many organizations out there in the world. And just like that, you've received your dose of work wisdom. I hope you're walking away with something that makes you feel a little bit more confident, a little bit more seen, and a whole lot more capable. Remember that the journey is yours. There's no one right way to do it, and it's okay to take it one step at a time. If today's topic hit home for you and you're thinking you can use a little extra support, I'd love to chat one-on-one. Head over to the show notes so you can figure out how to book some time with me. And if you enjoyed hanging out with me, make sure to hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any future episodes. And if you're feeling a little generous, please leave a quick review. It can help more people like us find the show. Plus, I'd love to hear what you think. Let's keep the conversation going. Follow me on Instagram at WorkWiseGuide.